coming off on that one side. We tore out the floor over the last couple of days, and we still got to take out the roof over here and this other side, and then we'll start working on the floor next.
Work is finally getting done. Do you need me to hold that? He's right now taking out, we're thinking a gurney lock. We don't actually know. We took off 2 padded rails from the sidewall. Now we're gonna take off this big seat. Look, it's all weird. See how it's like split into 2 sections, so you can't even really store anything in it. Then we found a tutorial on YouTube where this guy shows you how to make a bed that folds up into both a back couch and a front couch. We are all about that. We want to leave all of the cabinets.
It only took a half hour and 5 different tools to do our first piece of demolition.
Yay!
This is so tight in here. I managed to get these screws out by hand. But you have to be a contortionist to get your arm down in here and try to reach stuff. So it's crazy. Doesn't even feel like it's gonna go anywhere. But I'm worried that the whole base running along the bottom of this is also faced with glue from stem to stern. I also need to separate this far end because I think all that's glued together too. I could try to remove this, but I kind of like it where it's at.
Is it working? It looks like it's working. Oh my God!
Hopefully I can save this. All too often, like, well, that's just not going to work out. I got to do something totally new and different. That silver box is going to have to come out because it's in the way. Big old bolts are going to be really hard to get to. There's always more to tear apart. The aluminum box is gone. I put that out with the other one. I'll put a message out for scrappers. I don't know what to do about these. I think there's a big bolt in the sidewall, so I'm probably gonna have to undo the rest of these screws, but I got this top piece off. Thank you to my handy dandy crowbar.
Yay!
So, yeah, maybe I could just cut them off. Maybe I could just cut them. But the thing is, I want to save 1 or 2 for maybe seats. We can make some seats legal. Demolition is not pretty.
We're gonna start cutting wood. Today's the first day of actual construction.
7.5 on the short side and cut at a 45-degree angle.
We got the back half, all the framing cut.
We glued down a few boards, but we used this Power Grab all-purpose Loctite product. We're lacking confidence in it a little bit. We're going to test it out. Larry and Sandy are out looking into getting some actual liquid nail or something like that that might work better. We do not have the corner pieces in yet, but we got this whole end done, and we got them all weighted down with water. We'll do this corner piece tomorrow. We got better glue, and we do like the feel of this stuff more. This Gorilla Glue. Heavy duty Gorilla Glue. Feels more solid, thick, goopy. We got our corner boards all put in place. We have all these old bolt holes. We bought this mesh, and so we're going to cut a little piece of mesh to put over this, and then we're going to use the glue on top of that.
All the wood is down. Now some still have those numbers on them because I wrote the number on top of all of them. It's all gonna be covered, so it doesn't matter, but for your reference, if you don't want your numbers to show afterwards, think about it on your angly ones and write the number on the underneath. Next, we're going to slide the one big sheet of plywood in here first and get it marked before we put in the foam, just so it'll be easier to see. We have the plywood floor laid out and it's in right now, but just temporarily, just to be marked.
So we did 2 long boards. One over here, pretty basic cut over here, and goes down to the doorway. This one, I had to actually make a template so I could get that really weird cut right there done correctly. And then I also had to make this other little cut. I had to file a little extra to get it to fit in just right, because the rear edge was not matching up. This is 3/4 inch wood, and then we use like 3/8 inch wood. I had something a little thicker I used, and I shouldn't have. I should have used the 3/8. So you got a real level surface between those. Dawn is sealing the boards with Thompson's water seal, and I'm continuing to lay the insulation between the boards. You can see we were able to double the layers on that, and it comes up to just about the right height. I'm pretty happy with that. Something else that I've done is when I measure these out, I try to stagger my seams. So I got a seam right here, and then this one's offset from it. So I think that'll help seal stuff up just a little bit better. We got this whole side removed. So I went ahead and filled in the gap in the floor right here where the aluminum thing was. And then we'll have to lay, this isn't perfectly flat. This kind of comes up a little bit where the aluminum used to be. So we're gonna do just like a 1/4 inch subfloor kind of thing to make this all flat. Well, we got the cabinet out, and it's a real mess. Now I gotta fill in some more and try to get it all leveled out somewhat. Now I'm trying to get these off, and this is just spinning and spinning and spinning, so it must have a nut on the bottom side. I either gotta crawl underneath, or I don't know, we're gonna try something else. And then this one's got star pattern, which I freaking hate star patterns, mainly because I don't have any.
So here's our before picture on floor day. Now, because we're just so short-timed, we're not taking out the old floor. We just filled in where there was holes left from us pulling out the bench. Those silver brackets right there, we just couldn't get out. So we're gonna cut around them.
You got these big old hex nuts. I was hoping it was just a screw that went into the floor because there's 1/2 inch wood below it, but no. A nut and a bolt, and the gas tank runs right here, and it's a huge gas tank.
So we've decided to just build around them. We thought we'd start with just a big piece right in the middle. May or may not be the right way to do it, but that's what we're doing. And you can see right here where he's marked the holes for those 2 pieces he was just showing.
The subfloor. The subfloor is in. And it's time for lunch. Super quick and easy. I just zipped around. But now all the inside corners are gonna need to be cut in, so that when I lay this down, it will just make it fit better, you know. It'll all fit perfectly already. So the outside corners don't matter. They'll just have to double over on themselves. But the inside corners, this one's a little tricky. I don't know how many to do here. I think now that I'm all cut to size, I'm going to go ahead and try to secure it in place and see if my old 3M Super 77 will work to hold it all in place. Okay, you can see my completed piece off to the side. Now we're going to do the second piece. You always hear hindsight is 20/20. So what I've done is I've glued this edge and I've let it dry for a little while. And it's stuck on there pretty good. Now I'm going to glue everything down. What I did was I cut this a little bit oversized. So I'm going to get all this glued down because I had a big wrinkle problem on the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this all down into place first, and then I'm going to trim all the edges.
We got the black liner laid down, and we didn't want to puncture it in any way because this is our vapor barrier. So right now it's just sort of held in place with a little bit of duct tape.
So this stuff just cut like a dream. Yeah. Beauty, eh? Look at that. Went right in. Alright.
After days and days of subfloor work, the first screw is being drilled in.
You going?
And the first screw's in.
I did not put a lot of screws in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't figure it's going anywhere. It's wedged in there pretty tight. And then I can put this back in place. And then we're gonna put padding on. Man, that fits nice. I can't believe the way that worked out. So my wife's starting to lay flooring.
When they took the van out for just a trial, they found that they were on their knees a lot getting into stuff, and it hurt. So they got this foam flooring that's sort of like for a kid's room almost, that puts together like puzzle pieces. And it's got a wood grain. It does have a different side, like a travertine, and maybe we should use that, but I just thought the wood floor went so well with all the wood accents in here.
We laid down some underwear in order to clothe our floor. This actually is a lot like an Armstrong product that I wanted. It's got some flex to it. It tends to be warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. And it's got this sticky tape right on the edge of it. That's real sticky right there. And then on the opposite side, there's a that's sticky. But the cool thing about this is because you just have this kind of relatively thin layer of stick stuff, when you go to replace one, you just cut the one section out and replace the one section. You don't have to go start at the edge, work your way out to the bad piece, and then reinstall everything back to the wall again. So I really love this kind of product. We've begun to lay the floor, and I cut these in half because I just trimmed 3 inches off it, because I measured out all my pieces coming out to here and the edge of this step, and I would have ended up with a little 1-inch strip, which would have been really difficult. So now I should end up with about a 4-inch strip, which will be much easier to cut and look better when you're stepping into the vehicle. So there's our first 2 strips laid, and I'm getting ready to cut our next one. So I'm laying this down, and then I clamp it into place and get that all clamped down nice and straight, and then just use my razor to score it several times. Then I lift it up, flip it over, and I can break it. I flip it over and I run the razor down it one last time, and it comes apart like magic. So I got this secured at my 3-inch mark, nice and snug. And the first time I score this, I go real light with my pressure. I don't really press very hard at all. I'm just trying to create a score mark, and then your blade will follow better each and every time. Then I can start pressing harder. I score these about 8 times, putting a little bit more pressure each time. By the time I've scored it 8 times, usually I can just fold this. Just score this one a couple more times. It should just fold all the way over on itself. That. Then, so it's still hanging on. This top surface is just barely hanging on, and otherwise it's totally foldable. So I lay it like this, just run my blade, and there we go. This is how far we got with our first box. We're about 50 or 60% done, and now we gotta go buy another box. Oh wait, we got another box! We are losing daylight. This is the last piece I just put in right there. We got all the front done, and we are racing the clock, because we still got 2 more pieces to do. This narrow little 1.25 inch up here, and then a little bit more on that back side, and we are done with the floor. But we're running out of light. We did the whole floor today. It is Miller time.